want to get out there, but I don't try. But now I please. Just take the deal.
Welcome to my corkboard. What we see here is a timeline of events as they were presented to us. Basically everything in the order that it came out in. However, what we are going to do is I am going to go through everything in that way, and then I will tell you the order it actually happens in the story, according to my theory. First things first, we have the blurry face era, 2015 to 2017. Then we have the hiatus.
No. Wait.
Then we have the discovery of dmaorg.info in 2018, Trench in 2018, Scaled and Icy in 2021, Clancy/Breach 2024 to 2025, ending with City Walls. All right, now let's talk about Blurry Face. It is a loose concept album presenting Tyler Joseph's struggle to overcome Blurry Face, which is a personification of all his insecurities, his shame. It's basically Void from the Thunderbolts. That's Blurry Face. So Blurry Face is usually portrayed as a demon possessing Tyler. It's usually indicated with like red eyes, the black paint on his hands, on his neck. It's not a tattoo. It's not blackface. The only canonical music video that we know for a fact that came out during this time is Heavy Dirty Soul. And that is the Blurry Face era, which officially ended. Actually, we know the exact day that it ended, July 6th, 2017. The hiatus is a time of great suffering. Basically what happened was Tyler and Josh ignored us for a year. I mean, they were probably just taking a break because they were having like, I don't know, constant touring, constant public appearances. They were probably like both exhausted, and that was probably actually what it was, but it felt like they were just ignoring us. So for an entire year, there were no public appearances, no social media posts, no new announcements on music. The only thing we got was at the APMAs, where Josh says this.
Tyler wishes he could be here. He's actually off severing ties with Dima.
This is the first mention of Dima. Burn that into your synapses. It's going to be very important. So we were all very miserable. Everyone who remembers that and remembers it as a very dark time in our lives. Until April 2018.
So I was searching through the internet and I found something insanely interesting. So if you guys look at 21pilots.com, they have two videos. One is the Vessel era and one is the Blurry Face era. But the thing I noticed is the Vessel era, it's the same video, but there's actually something a little bit different. So at the end it shows Tyler Joseph falling at the end of the car radio music video. And here's the video that is now on the 21 Pilots website. So I decided to type it in as a website, and this is actually what popped up. It says 404 error, you are in violation, they mustn't know you were here. No one should ever find out about this. You can never tell anyone about this for the sake of utter survival. You must keep this silent. We must keep silent. No one can know, no one can know, no one can know.
Turns out that wasn't the whole link. So he watched the GIF over and over and over and over and over again and got the entire link. And that brought you to DMAorg.info was a pseudo blog site that had Unabomber-esque pictures and journal entries from a character named Clancy. In his journal entries, Clancy says that he lives in the fictitious city of Dima, which exists in the fictitious continent of Trench. That's right, it gets weirder, I promise you.
I feel like on the hiatus, it was probably like that one meme, like, Alexander, come back to sleep. He's like,
I have an early meeting out of town.
Alexander, come back to sleep.
I have an early meeting out of town.
Dima is a massive concrete city surrounded by a circular wall. Here's an aerial picture of it from the website. Dima is a theocratic oligarchy, which means I finally get to use my degree in political science. The 9 religious leaders that make up the oligarchy are referred to as bishops, and they are these guys. We got Keons, Nico, Listo, Andre, Sakarva, Fatoma, Riesdro, Lizdin, and Nils. And each bishop is represented by a tower which exists in the center of the city. 9 towers, 9 bishops. Nico is implied to be the leader, and by implied I mean it's straight up said.
Nico, or Blurryface is what he calls himself. He's the leader of the 9 bishops who govern the city.
Also, look at their names. Look at them. Where in the name of Tolkien do these come from? I will tell you. If you look at the map of Dima, look at the center part, look at the towers. Does that not look familiar? Hold on. On the cover for Blurryface, there are 9 circles, each representing a different song from the album. And this is mirrored in the map of Dima, where each bishop is marked with a tower. Now, if you take the cover of Blurryface and put it over top it, you get a song for each bishop, and that is where their names come from. For example, Sakarver, she's a carver.
She's a tear in my heart. She's a carver. She's hoping they choke on smokers. I'm smoking in my basement. Tomorrow I'll keep a beat and repeat yesterday's dance. I die for you, that's easy to say. We have a list of people that we would take. They think this thing is a highway, but will they be alive tomorrow?
You get it, you get the gist, you get the gist. The only one whose name does not exist in the album, you guessed it, Nico.
Blurryface is what he calls himself.
And he is represented by the song Stressed Out on the album cover. I also want to just say, I have no idea who figured this out, but bless you and your little demented brain. Okay, so these are the bishops. And then the city itself is split into 9 districts, and a bishop oversees 1 of those districts. Clancy, in his letters, specifies that he lives in Keons' district, and he also says that Keons is nice. And then around the city in the open space, that is called the necropolis. We will get back to that later. Dima, the city, is described as monotonous, orderly, every single day is the same, everyone does the exact same thing. But since it is a theocracy, they are all forced to practice the religion called vialism. What is vialism? I will get back to that later. Okay, so that's Dima. Holy, we haven't even gotten to the music yet. In the letters, Clancy describes how he used to really like Dima, he used to really like the city, but now he thinks it sucks. He straight up hates it there now and wants to leave, except for the fact that you can't leave Dima. If you try to leave the city, you are marked as an FPE, a failed perimeter escape. I also just want to let you guys know that like half of this is just implied. It's not like what we're going for with the canon here is what is said actually in the letters and what happens in the music videos. That is the canon. Okay. Another rule in Dima is that art and creativity are very strictly regulated. Not just anyone can do it, not just anyone can create. It is all in control by the bishops. Are you guys picking up on the metaphor yet? No? Okay. Now in the I Am Clancy video, Clancy says this.
I tricked Nico into taking me outside the walls. I created a fiery diversion. I escaped.
And this is where we get the first canonical music video, Heavy Dirty Soul.
Can you save my heavy dirty soul?
I had to take my undershirt off because I was about to pass out. Now, how do we know that this is the first canonical music video? Not only does it say that in the I Am Clancy video, but this year, that's right, this year, a bunch of fans got creepy mail. Not the kind you're thinking. 7 years after the video premiered. Now, I did not get one of these because the address to the dumpster I sleep in, I guess they lost it. But basically what the mail was a FPE report from the city of Dima, the sacred municipality of Dima, describing exactly what happens in Heavy Dirty Soul. And on that report is the date, February 7th, 2017. Here we go. First thing. Okay, there we go. In Heavy Dirty Soul, we see Clancy portrayed by Tyler Joseph. Yes, Tyler Joseph is portraying a character named Clancy. Tyler himself is not a character in the story. He is playing a character. I'm gonna get back to that later because, oh my gosh. And in Heavy Dirty Soul, Clancy makes his first successful escape attempt from Dima. In the I Am Clancy video, he says that he tricks Nico into taking him outside the walls and then creates an explosion and then runs away. Is this actually Nico though? Because in the FPE report, it says that Clancy escaped with the help of another citizen. So, which is true? I don't know. We're gonna have an I don't know counter because that's gonna happen a lot. That's the first I don't know. We don't know if it was another citizen. We don't know if it was Nico, and then Nico was just embarrassed that he managed to let Clancy escape, so he lied to everyone else and said, oh, it was somebody else. We don't know. Also, this implies that Nico has a pre-existing relationship with Clancy. What is it? I don't know. Especially since Clancy says he grew up in Keon's district and that Keon's was his bishop. What does he have to do with Nico?
I don't know!
And Josh is also in the music video. Where is he? Okay, next in the canonical timeline, oh, by the way, I marked all the letters with a number. That is the number order in which they came out. After Heavy Dirty Soul, we get our first letter, number 5. In this letter, Clancy details how he managed to escape, and now he's out in the continent of Trench, and, well, he feels. And that leads us to Jumpsuit. Now, Jumpsuit came out a year after Heavy Dirty Soul. Does this mean that Clancy was walking around in Trench futzing about for a year? No. Clancy is walking around in Trench in the Jumpsuit music video, and up to this point, he believed he was alone. Except now he's proven wrong because we are going to be introduced to the next big player in the story, the Banditos. Now, the Banditos are basically just like the rebel group that lives outside of Dima and like helps people escape occasionally. And you know who's a bandito because they always wear green and they have yellow duct tape because yellow in color symbology is the symbol of hope, creativity, and friendship. And the bishops can't see yellow. So the bishops, because of the powers granted to them by the religion of vialism, also have caveats. One of them being they can't see the color yellow.
That was caveat.
I've heard it both ways. And in Jumpsuit, the Banditos warn Clancy that somebody is coming for him, and that somebody is our boy Nico on a horse. And instead of running away, Clancy just stands there like a nerd, which allows Nico to get off of his horse and walk up to him and smear him. Now we're going to talk about smearing, which is when they basically just walk up to you and put black ink on your neck, and then it's heavily debated exactly what happens, but for the most part it's generally believed that you just kind of become numb and docile and open to their suggestion, basically. After Nico does this to Clancy, Clancy starts to willingly follow him back to Dima, until the Banditos decide to cause a distraction, help Clancy get away by throwing flower petals, the power of friendship and hope and creativity and all that jazz. And this allows Clancy to get away, because in the end of Jumpsuit we see Nico standing over Clancy. However, we get to the next letter, which is number 6, where Clancy is still in Trench and basically just describes everything that happens in the Jumpsuit music video as if it was happening to somebody else. Like, he describes it in third person and says that the whole situation really freaked him out and that he ran away, but the character we saw in the music video is Clancy, so what does that mean? I will get back to that. And then another key factor in this letter is that Clancy starts to say that he really regrets leaving the city. And that's where we get our next letter, which came out January 22nd. And basically what the letter says is that Clancy is now back in Dima, only he doesn't say that Nico brought him back. He says that Keon's, his bishop, brought him back. Which one is it? I don't know. Because in letter number 7, he starts to say that I think I misremembered this whole thing. I actually don't know what happened. It's all a weird blur. I'm very confused. And he also says, I probably should not have come back here. Are you getting the metaphor yet? Are you getting the metaphor yet? No. Okay, we'll keep going. It's also weird to say that in the letter he says that he doesn't know who the bishop is that's in the canyon, which is weird because he's met Nico before. So, has he? This is also where I think we get the actual first letters to appear on DMA.org. I think Clancy starts to try to find like-minded people who also hate the city, because he starts to plan another escape, which he says in letter number 4. Now, he decides that he is going to try to escape the city of Dima during what is called the annual assemblage of the glorified, which happens in Nico and the Niners. Now, I have to explain to you what the annual assemblage of the glorified is, and to do that, I have to tell you about the religion of vialism.
It's called vialism, and all you really need to know is that it teaches that self-destruction is the only way to paradise.
In short, vialism is a religion that teaches you the only way to achieve paradise and ascend to heaven is to kill yourself. The necropolis is just a fancy word for cemetery, and the people who ascend to paradise, aka themselves, are buried there, marked with a neon gravestone, and they are referred to as the glorious gone. And the annual assemblage of the glorified is the yearly celebration that celebrates everyone who killed themselves this year. Friendly reminder that this is all discovered from a merch website for a emo Midwestern band that popularized ukulele screamo rap. Me and my assistant just figured out that the audio has not been recording for the last 30 minutes that I've been talking here, which means I get to repeat everything I just said. Clancy takes advantage of the bishops being distracted and decides to escape with the help of the banditos and their leader, the Torchbearer, who's played by Josh Dunn. And yes, his name is Torchbearer. There's also this moment, which I think is basically just confirming that Clancy and the Torchbearer know each other somehow. How do they know each other? I don't know. The two of them cause a distraction, which canonically is a concert, which proves my theory that Clancy does have some kind of musical background in Dima, and that's also probably why he knows Nico. I don't know, I'm grasping at so many straws. And that brings us to, once they escape, Levitate. Which is basically just Clancy hanging out with the banditos, getting indoctrinated into their organization, getting his head shaved because Tyler loves shaving his head on camera. And the entire song of Levitate is basically just Clancy spewing what he thinks they need to do, how they need to rebel, they need to revolt, they need to take down the system, which is basically means Clancy is Nemec from Andor if Nemec didn't get his spine crushed and instead became Anakin Skywalker. We're gonna get back to that eventually. And then at the end of the music video, Clancy gets snatched. And what were these two guys doing? Jack all. Pretty sure this guy's a traitor. Anyways, that's it. Story's over, video's over. Clancy's just gone now. Or is the story over? No, because now we have Trench, the album. Came out October 5th, 2018, and Trench is actually more of a supplemental anthology than literally part of the narrative. Songs like Morph, which is where we get Nico's name.
Always try to stop me, that Nicholas Bourbaki. He's got no friends close, but those who know him most know he goes by Nico.
His name is Nicolas Bourbaki, and if you don't know what Nicolas Bourbaki is, it's this French mathematician group from World War I that created a bunch of things, including the zero with the slash through it. I don't know why they specifically chose that name other than it kind of sounds cool, I guess. I don't know, but Nico's real name is Nicolas Bourbaki, and we find that out in Morph. And then we have Neon Gravestones, for obvious reasons. And then we have Bandito, for equally obvious reasons. And then we have Leave the City. Next up, we have Chlorine, the music video. Now this is actually what I will like to call adjacent lore, because in Chlorine, we are introduced to the character of Ned, which is basically like if a Furby gained sentience and had antlers and could gore you, and I actually find Ned to be very unsettling to look at, but a lot of people think he's really cute. Also, it's very notable that Tyler said that Ned is not canon, except that we'll get to that later, and I just want you to know that he is a dirty, dirty liar. Okay, so that is the album. Now we have the worst time to be a person in the 21st century so far. The quarantine singles.
I told you my level of concern, but you walk by like you never heard.
First up, we have Level of Concern, which came out in April of 2020. Now, Level of Concern itself is not a lore song, but the music video had a scavenger hunt type thing. I don't know. And at the end of the scavenger hunt, this happened.
It's Tyler here. This video is on a flash drive that we mailed to your house because you are one of the first few people who cracked the 20th drive. I don't know, this is, if you're seeing this video on the internet, then it's not what this was supposed to be, and someone leaked it on there. I don't know what his looks like. Probably cooler than mine. I'm just down here, actually sitting next to the first piano that I ever purchased, and I really hope we see you soon.
And then we have Christmas Saves the Year, which is a Christmas song. Nothing special, nothing cool about it, except for the fact that on the cover art, there's a thing in the background that says SAI, is propaganda. What? All right, and then that was the quarantine singles, and we got a new album announcement and a new single from that album on April 7th, 2021, which was Shy Away.
Don't you shy away. Manifest the ceiling when you shy away.
People didn't realize that Shy Away was a lore music video. Except that it freaking is, and I will fight anyone who says it's not. I will explain why in a second, but Shy Away announced that the arrival of a new album was coming May 21st, 2021. Thread, wrap around the push pin. Scaled and Icy. SAI. Oh boy! Along with Scaled and Icy, the day that the album came out, there would be a live stream experience which you could pay $20 to watch. And I paid $20 to watch it for the first time, and I definitely don't now have an illegal copy of it on my hard drive. I am saying that I don't have that.
You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't download a car!
You wouldn't download a fucking car, would you?
Okay, I actually think the fact that I have to do all of this over again is making me more unhinged. So, the day of the album, the day of the live stream, we all assume, okay, Clancy's story's over, kind of a sad little tale, but okay, what do they have next for us? Except the fact that the live stream starts this way.
I know it's hard to believe me. It's a good day.
Okay, so what is going on? And we find this out in a letter that comes out 2 years later. Was it 2 years? Actually, I think it was just 1 year. When did this letter drop? 2022. Okay, so it was just 1 year. I'm exaggerating. So basically what happened after, where is it? Levitate. After Levitate, what happened was the bishops took Clancy back to Dima. Now, instead of indoctrinating him again and just forcing him to be a citizen again, they decide to put him in jail because he just basically gave them the middle finger in Nico and the Niners and said, screw you guys, I do what I want. They come up with an idea. Clancy is an artsy-fartsy boy, probably has some performance background because of the Nico and the Niners music video. What if we Katniss Everdeen him? What if we force him to basically be a representation of everything that we know and love and hold dear? And that is what the Psy era is. It's Clancy's Katniss era.
I don't bother anyone. Nervous when I stand, joking on the circumstance, only smoking secondhand.
So basically, the live stream is Clancy being quite literally, probably held at gunpoint and forced to perform. And that is also why I think Shy Away is a lore music video, because in Shy Away, the beginning of it, we see that Tyler is sitting there looking dazed and confused, and someone off screen is talking to him. That's him being forced by the bishops to sing. Sing!
Sing for
Oh, baby. Also, at the beginning, if you remember that Sakarver and Lisden's buttons were lit up, Nico's flashes. I'm gonna get back to that. So that means that the live stream and Scaled and Icy are diegetic, which means they are a part of the actual world. And not only that, but the Icy tour and the Takeover tour were also diegetic, potentially. I mean, did you guys ever wonder exactly why there were actually multiple band members during that time and they all were wearing uniforms with this symbol on them? That's right, if you went to the Takeover tour or the Icy tour, you were not a person just going to a 21 Pilots concert, you were a citizen of Dima going to watch Clancy perform, which I think is really freaking cool, because what other medium, what other narrative has that level of audience participation? Don't say the Star Wars Hotel, do not mention the Star Wars Hotel. Actually, my assistant just brought up a very good point. We don't know the time span between these two things. We don't know how much time passed between Levitate and the live stream. It is theorized that it's actually the amount of years it was between Levitate and the live stream. People think that Clancy was a prisoner for about 3 years. Is that true? I don't know. Also, fun fact, the two hosts in the show, they're credited as Dan Lisden and Sally Sakarver. That's why their buttons are lit up. Those are actually Sakarver and Lisden. Except that they kinda aren't, but I will get back to that. That's why this was said, this was a warning that nothing in this era is what it seems. It's all a lie. And then after the live stream, the bishops go, hey, that worked out really well. The album's popping off. People are going to the shows and stuff. Clancy, we're gonna have you perform for the annual assemblage of the glorified, and it's going to be on a submarine. And that is where we get Saturday. That is what the video for Saturday is. Saturday, which is a good song. And if you disagree, shut up. No one thinks you're cool if you don't like Saturday. Like, literally, no one thinks you're cool if you hate Scaled and Icy. It's a good summertime album, like summertime jams. Saturday was the college football game day song when it came out, so that was cool.
I was just thinking, since the Saturday song is a diegetic music and it's playing over the game day, does that mean that
the NCAA exists in the Dima universe? We've connected the dots. Joseph, take freaking notes. So Saturday we see Clancy being loaded onto a submarine and he is surrounded by 9 people all wearing red hoods. Saturday, we see the performance on the submarine with the Dima Elite present. I don't know why there's a class system in Dima, and I don't know what the class system is exactly. And then what happens during Saturday, the submarine is attacked by a dragon. And that's canon. Also, that ups the body count pretty significantly for the story, because if you just watch the music video, there's no way that all of those people got out of that situation. And also, Josh is here. Josh has been here the whole time, or has he? Saturday ends and Sunday begins, and what happens on Sunday but the outside
Singing out, up and down, they're nodding. Heads are moving up and down. You got it.
A full year later. And are you guys ready for a lore dump? Because open wide, I'm about to dump so much lore on you. Don't take that out of context. The outside music video starts with the dragon, but also we see that a bishop was controlling the dragon. And who is the bishop but Keon's, Clancy's bishop. That's right, Clancy, no, what am I talking about? Keon's took control of a dragon to crash the submarine to let Clancy escape because Keon's has been working with the torchbearer to get Clancy out of Dima. Keon's is the nice one. He likes Clancy. He doesn't like what they're all doing to him, so he teams up with the torchbearer. How do we know that he was actually working with them? Ned's Cozy Fireplace. A 10-hour video that was just lo-fi chill 21 Pilots hip-hop beats that came out November 23rd, 2023. In the background of Ned's Cozy Fireplace is a letter that says, Keon's was right, saw Clancy and TB on the beach, which is what we see in the outside music video, that Clancy washes up on the shore of an island called Voldsoy, and the torchbearer is there. Also, Clancy's hair is not pink anymore like it was in the Saturday music video, and I think that's just, it's not because they were filmed like a year apart. It's because the ocean washed it out. Keon's after that, well, the other bishops are not very happy, and they decide to Okay, so after Keon's gets hole punched, Clancy and the torchbearer are on Voldsoy. Torchbearer is leading Clancy around the island. Then they find the Neds. The Neds are they're the residents of Voldsoy. So yes, they are canon. So once they find the Neds, they find a cave. They chill out with them for a little bit, and then one of the demonic Furbies gives Clancy antlers on a beach. And then this happens. So now we get to talk about seizing. I've been wanting to talk about seizing this entire time because it makes everything, it answers every single question that you guys have had, pretty much. Seizing is an ability that the bishops have that is granted to them through the practice of vialism, which allows them to possess and control dead bodies. So Sakarver and Lisden during the live stream were not the real Sakarver and Lisden. They were being seized by Sakarver and Lisden. So you were looking at dead people the entire time, which is also why during the live stream they get progressively more and more horrifying to look at because the bodies are falling apart. It is believed that only bishops can seize bodies. I also forgot to mention that this little picture right here, I will show it. This is how we know that Keon's is the one that betrays the other bishops. This also explains that it's called seizing. Allegedly, only the 9 bishops can seize bodies, except for the fact that that's not true, because we see in the outside music video that Clancy seizes Keon's dead body, basically just freaks the other bishops out and is basically just saying like, haha, suckers, I can do exactly what you can do. Except Clancy didn't know he could do that the whole time. And how do we know all of this? Well, first off, we know everything that happens in the Psy era because of letter number 8, which is basically Clancy telling you guys everything that I just told you. And then we find out that through letter number 6, where is it? No, letter number 9. There's no pin for it. That's where we get the explanation of what just happened to Keon's and the fact that Clancy seized his dead body. He's very confused in the letter, didn't realize he could do that. Clancy is an exception to the rules of vialism because he can also seize dead bodies, but he himself can be seized, even though he's still alive. So the bishops can possess Clancy, even though Clancy is not dead. It's also why on the control panel, Nico's name flashes but doesn't light up because he was possessing him. Also, remember back in Jumpsuit when Clancy like recalls the whole thing that happened, how it was like an out-of-body experience for him? That's because he was being seized and his soul was literally pushed out of his body. It's not because Clancy and Tyler are two completely separate people. I am so sick of people saying that they're twins, that they're two completely different characters. They've literally spelled it out for you in the letters that they are the same person and explained why he experienced everything in Jumpsuit as an out-of-body experience. It's in the letters. He's not a twin. If the scar is different on his nose, it's a production error. Everyone just, I can't with that. The music video for The Outside ends with Clancy and the torchbearer standing on the shore of Voltsoy signaling to the other banditos. What happens next? Well, what happens next doesn't happen until February 29th, 2024 with Overcompensate.
Welcome back to trash.
So in Overcompensate, we return to Dima. We see an assembly like hall in Dima where a bunch of citizens are gathered. Who comes in and starts talking to them but Clancy, and he's wearing a mask and he's got like this whole getup now. We know it's Clancy because he literally says in the lyrics of the song,
originated right in front of your eyes. If you can't see, I am Clancy. Prodigal son done running, come up with Josh done, wanted dead or alive.
So Clancy is trying to instill a sense of rebellion in the city, which he talks about in these 3 letters. Now, the first letter, letter number 10, came in the mail also, and it was once again a Dima evidence file with that letter, which means that these letters are being printed and distributed throughout Dima somehow. How is that happening? I don't know. So through means of rapping and Tyler's weird dancing, I really hope this man never learns to dance because it gives me too much joy. Clancy converts a bunch of Dima citizens over to his cause. Now, if you look in the video, you will notice that some of the citizens have yellow tape and some of the citizens have red tape. I will get back to why. At the end of the Overcompensate music video, Clancy collapses and the Dima citizens go to check on him and pull the mask off, except it's not actually Clancy, it's a dead body. It's a dead body. So Clancy was seizing a dead Dima citizen, which is kind of sad because they look really, really young, and was basically there preaching to the people, to the citizens from afar, which is what this letter says, where he says, I found a way in, a way that they will never expect. And then Clancy and the torchbearer end up on Trench again, and they meet up with a group of banditos, and that is where we get Navigating. Which came out May 23rd, along with the alleged final album in the story, Clancy.
I remember certain things, what I was wearing, the yellow dashes in the street.
And I will say it is the alleged final album, and there is literal proof that Tyler said that out loud, that yes, this was supposed to be the final album. He lies, and lies, and lies, and lies. And we keep giving him money. Navigating is the torchbearer and Clancy following this group of banditos through Trench. It's just a lot of walking. And then we get to a massive bonfire where someone is waiting for them. Who is that someone? It's the torchbearer. And then Clancy's like, what the freak? And then the torchbearer's not there anymore. That's right. The entire time, Josh wasn't there. Now, I don't know if that means that in the Psy era, like during Shy Away and stuff, if Clancy was actually seeing him, or if Josh was just there because Josh, you know, you gotta have Josh. I don't know, but we do know for a fact, because Tyler said this in the live stream, that the last time Clancy actually saw the real torchbearer was in Levitate. So during the live stream, Tyler explained that the torchbearer has a power too, just like Clancy, except his is different because he has the power to guide people. Now, basically what we took that to mean was that the torchbearer can project his image in different places so that he can help people and guide them to safety. Now, is that what was happening in Psy? I don't know. I don't know if he was actually there. I don't know if Clancy actually saw him, but we do know for a fact that Clancy did see him in the outside on Voltsoy. Also, during the live stream, we were told that the next music video, the final lore video in the album was Paladin Straight. The music video would come out in June, early June, except that what he actually meant was in early June they were going to release a digital booklet on their merch site that you could purchase for about $5, and in the digital booklet there were hidden puzzles that you had to solve. And if you solve the puzzles, you would be taken to a URL link that had clips of the music video, and only when the fans found that would they actually post the music video. Discord Click solved it. Discord Click could solve the Lindbergh baby. And Paladin Straight is next, right? No, it's not. Undo the thingy, because we still have to, even though Paladin Straight came out in June of 2024, the next canonical things that happen are the Clancy Tour chicanery. Now, what happened during the Clancy Tour is that there were a series of fan exhibits outside of the concert that you could pay for, supplement your ticket, and go see basically props from their music videos, their costumes, their instruments, all this stuff. And then there were letters hidden in the exhibits. A lot of them were between citizens of Dima or Banditos. And if you read the citizens of Dima ones and the Bandito ones, basically what they were doing was just kind of giving a little bit more world building and kind of explaining like how the system of Dima worked. Also heavily hinting that the Banditos don't trust Clancy. That is why in the end of Overcompensate, some of the citizens have yellow tape and some of the citizens have red tape. The yellow tape citizens are people on the side of the Banditos who don't necessarily trust Clancy's intentions. And then the other side of that, the red side, are basically, I call them Clancy zealots. They're basically people who are like, yeah, Clancy's the future. I want him to usurp the bishops and take over. And also, there was 3 pieces in the Australian tour, 3 pieces of one letter that were at different shows that people took pictures of and put together online to figure out what it said, and it was a letter between Clancy and the Torchbearer. Now, the Torchbearer writes to Clancy and basically tells him, hey, I'm trying to get people on our side. I think I'm managing to do that, so we're getting ready for battle, and I hope you know that you're my friend, and that even though you couldn't see me, I never left you. Anyways, and then we have a second Torchbearer note, which is basically like the scene in Revenge of the Sith where Padme comes to Anakin on Mustafar and is basically going, stop, come back, I love you. Like you're kind of losing it, my guy. Like, hey, you're letting all this power kind of go to your head a little bit. And Clancy has a response in the final letter of the European Clancy tour, where he basically just goes, I
have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Torchbearer's like,
Your new empire?
in word for word in Clancy's letter, he says, I will be an example of absolute power. Now, I think these letters happen before Paladin Straight. Is that true? I don't know. But then we get Paladin Straight. And then Paladin Straight, we see Clancy is living in isolation on Trench because, like I said before, the Banditos don't necessarily trust him. Torchbearer comes to Clancy and is like, hey, bro, it's time. We're gonna attack the city. And then Clancy and the Banditos gear up and they march on to Dima, except the bishops know they're coming because they seized a bunch of dead vultures. And so when they get there, the bishops perform this massive seize that reawakens, like, no, I don't think it's all the glorious gone, but it's a very decent amount. There's also this really sad moment where Clancy like kind of looks at the Torchbearer for reassurance, and then the Torchbearer just doesn't even look at him, and then everyone charges, and it's like Avengers Endgame, except I was like way more excited for this than when Avengers Endgame came out. And then Clancy breaks away and goes into the city because the battle is a distraction. Clancy has a goal, he has a mission, and he climbs the tower in the middle of the city, like at the end of the song, Paladin Strait. That's literally like an exact description of what is happening. Finds a chamber with all the bishops in it, except there's only 7 of them. Remember, Keon's is freaking dead. Nico's not there. And then Clancy takes down the other bishops. Now, no one knows exactly how he does this. I have a theory that he does a reverse seize, which basically means that instead of possessing a body, he takes the soul of a body and rips it out and eats it like Kirby. Hi! And then Nico bursts through the door, grabs Clancy by the throat, and Clancy is like scared and drops the antlers. And Nico says the word,
So few. So proud. So emotional. Hello, Clancy.
and then the music video ends. And remember, we were told that was it, except that it wasn't. Because a week after I finished my Clancy retrospective video that took me 6 months to make, and I thought I would get at least a 3-year break because that's how long the album cycles last, they go and hide Morse code messages in the Bandito letters of the European Clancy tour, which spell out breach. And then at the end of May 2025, they announce the real final album in the storyline, Breach. And say that the first single continuing the story is called The Contract, and it comes out June 12th.
I check the doors, check the windows, and pull the blind. I check the clock, wondering what hip-hop decides. I have a feeling that necromancer's outside, and I'm just trying to stay quiet.
I was chill with the story ending in Paladin Strait. I was chill with like an open-ended thing where we could be like, oh, interpret your own meaning. What happens at the end of it? I was okay with that. Now that there's actually going to be a definitive ending, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about it, not gonna lie. I'm actually not excited. I'm not excited. I'm like dreading it. Every day I wake up and think about it.
Every time I wake up and look over at my Josh body.
I don't have a Josh body pillow. That's disrespectful. Okay, so The Contract is gonna come out June 12th. And to advertise that, instead of doing the normal thing that normal people do, Tyler watched the Mandela catalog last year and decided to just go, yeah, let's do that.
I check the doors, check the windows, and pull the blinds, pull the blinds, pull the blinds, pull the blinds, pull the blinds. I have a feeling that necromancer's outside, and I'm just trying to stay quiet.
And so what we see in The Contract is that picks up exactly where Paladin Strait ended. And then when Clancy opens his eyes, like at the end of Paladin Strait, instead he is not in the tower anymore. He's in like this weird mindscape thing surrounded by all these dark red-eyed clones. Are they of him? I actually think yeah. There is a lot of imagery that's very reminiscent of The Last Jedi when Rey is in the sea cave. I actually talked to my friend Stolen Potential about this, and he mentioned it in one of his videos about how in The Last Jedi, Rey sees herself multiplied to infinity, and that is symbolic of her feeling a lack of identity because she doesn't know where she comes from. It's just her. When she follows the end of the trail, she sees in the mirror that it's just her. I think that's kind of what's going on here. I think up to this point, Clancy has kind of felt like what he wants and what he desires doesn't really matter. He was basically just pushed around, entrenched, dragged back, escaped, dragged back again. Psy era, he was forced to perform against his will, and then in the Clancy era, like it says in his letter, that the banditos are basically making him into a weapon. Kind of like not forcing him to fight, but probably just like, hey, so like you have this great power, aren't you gonna use it? Except some of us aren't gonna like the fact that you're using it and we're gonna hate you for it. I don't know. I just feel like it's representative of Clancy having kind of like a lack of identity, but also it could be the fact that maybe this whole thing has happened before. This entire story is just repeating itself. The shadow people, the creepy shadow people in the contract are not necessarily other versions of Clancy, but basically people who were doing exactly what Clancy is trying to do, and it didn't work out for them. Again, I don't know who knows, but basically what the contract is Clancy talking to the torchbearer and basically saying that he feels a sense of betrayal from him because during this whole thing, he was never there. He also, and there's like the whole thing about the contract, like a promise was made. There was a promise between the two of them and somehow it got broken. I don't know. Anyways, the contract ends with Clancy looking at the torchbearer and the torchbearer offering him his jacket or the clacket, and it's mirroring the imagery of the Clancy tour where the torchbearer would hand Clancy his jacket. Every time they did that, Clancy took longer and longer to take the jacket from the torchbearer until the final show, he just straight up doesn't take it and walks off. It's the same thing. Except in the contract music video, we don't actually see if he takes the jacket. We just see Clancy's eyes open, and then the contract music video ends. So not only did we have to wait a year for the continuation of a story, the continuation ends with the exact same cliffhanger as the last video. There's just times where I want to drive to Ohio and just punch Tyler in the face. This is one of those times. And it is all leading up to the big finale, 10 years in the making, with City Walls, which comes out next week as of me recording this. Now, how is City Walls gonna end? I don't know. I have no idea how it's gonna end, and that is so freaking stressful to me. But I have a theory. What is the connection with the blurry face era? Because Tyler says that the Clancy story has been being told for 10 years, and 10 years ago was blurry face. So what does that have to do with the actual lore? My theory is that all of this is a prequel to Blurry Face, because what do we see in Blurry Face? Tyler being possessed by Nico. Also, fun fact, in the Fairly Local music video, there was a fight scene that was cut between Josh and Blurry Face, aka Tyler. They literally did makeup for it. There's pictures of it online. You can look up. Josh was in full makeup because he gets the crap beat out of him by Blurry Face. Am I saying that that happens after the contract? I mean, I've said a lot of things today. Might as well just like full force. Yeah, I'm saying it happens after the contract. And then I guess we will see. We will see with City Walls, and that's the lore.